Sung Jin Woo was born 20 to 25 years before the main storyline to Seungkwon and Park Kyung-hae. He has a younger sister named Jinna. When his father inexplicably vanished inside a dungeon during a raid 10 years before the first double dungeon incident, it was assumed that he had died. His mother had her son swear to her that he would look after Jinna while she was away before she began to exhibit signs of eternal sleep 6 years later and eventually went into a coma. Jinwoo and the other members of his raid team at the time, Lee Joo-hee, Song Chi-yeol, and Kim Sang-sik, found a second hidden dungeon behind the gate and chose to investigate it during what appeared to be a typical D-rank dungeon raid. Unfortunately, they were trapped and had no way out after realizing too late that it was a trap. Only 6 of the 17 hunters who had first entered the dungeon were still alive at that time, the others having been mercilessly murdered by the dungeon's statues, despite the fact that the party eventually managed to meet the requirements to have the dungeon doors open, primarily because of Jinwoo's cunning and instincts. Jinwoo, who had already lost his right leg, offered to be the sacrifice when he realized that one person needed to remain behind in order for the other members of the party to leave safely. A bizarre message appeared in front of Jinwoo's face as the statues flung him around like a rag doll and impaled him with their swords. It informed him that he had fulfilled the prerequisites for a secret quest and asked if he wanted to accept or reject his status as a player. Jinwoo agreed since he was out of time and alternatives, which made him the player of the system and enabled him to make it through the double dungeon. When Jinwoo regained consciousness, he found that he had been sleeping for 3 days inside a hospital, and that his injuries, including his amputated right leg, had miraculously healed. Additionally, he became aware that no one else could see the odd program screen that was hovering above him. He assumed it was a joke at first and went back to sleep, but when he was punished for failing to finish the daily task on time by being sent to a penalty dungeon, he soon realized it wasn't. Jinwoo made the decision to take the program seriously since he didn't want to return to the penalty dungeon. He subsequently found out that the software was called the system, and he found that it functioned similarly to a video game, that it awarded him rewards each time he finished one of its objectives. Additionally, he began to assiduously do the system's daily mission, which awarded him full status recovery, a random lucky box, and stat points each time he met its conditions. The system guided Jinwoo to an immediate dungeon close to a metro station after he finished objectives over a few days. Jinwoo persevered and eventually killed the boss and every other monster in the dungeon by himself, despite his initial fear of being forced to solo the area and being unable to leave until it was cleared. After this, he also began to invest in his strength stats and work out regularly, which triggered the magical benefits of the system and made him considerably more masculine and muscular in a matter of weeks.